You walked away from the narcissist. You went on this healing journey. You reflect on everything that you had endured. You even went so far as back to your childhood. You were really digging deep to why you were attracting evil people. Now, you gave yourself a lot of time and you decided to put put yourself back in the field. But you ended up encountering an avoidant, a dismissive, avoidant attachment style. Now, in the beginning, you thought this was your match because they had dealt with narcissists. Their family were narcissistic, very toxic, and they told you their story, and it was like they wanted the same thing that you wanted, just peace and healing. And it was like they spoke your language. They were into everything that you were into. They were into growing and learning and knowledge and just growth. And you was like, wow, maybe the universe, maybe the Most High really put us together for a reason. Maybe I went through so much just to meet this person. They were very affectionate. They always wanted to become intimate with you. This avoidant really, just gave it to you. And, they told you that they really wanted to be in a relationship and they just wanted to find a person. And, they told you that they wanted you to move in, and they just gave you a lot of fantasies. And as time progressed, you started seeing some of the trauma started to show. Their nervous system, they was always on this fight or flight mode. They were always feeling like danger, or they were always taking everything as an offense when things wasn't even that deep. You just started to see that they were all over the place mentally. And even they knew it. They knew that they were going through a lot. They know who they are. They know that their mind is twisted. And, you start to call things out. You started to call things out. They started to deny things and push you away and tell you that, they tried to deny your reality. And, as time progressed, they noticed that you seemed too deep. They noticed that you seemed too deep. And it was like they just wanted to trauma dump on you. They used you as a trauma dumpster. Anytime they were dealing with anxiety, they wanted to become intimate with you. And they used intimacy as just this emotional regulator. They regulated their emotions through laying down with you and being intimate. Now, you started to notice that. You started to become drained a lot because this person were like some sort of nymphomaniac or something. And, you still wanted to work with this person because you really became kind of trauma bonded with this person because you thought that you actually healed, but you really didn't. And you found yourself very attached. And when they noticed that you were attached and you always wanted to be around, they started to become dismissive. They started to become avoidant. The calls were getting less and less, and then it just went away. There were no calls at all. And you just were calling, trying to see what was going on. You were pouring your emotions out, pouring your heart out, and they would just ignore you. They would just ignore you. And you were just giving them everything that you got, letting them know that you poured out all your emotions to them, that you told them your life story and how could they do you like this. But there was no response. And every time you would go missing, they would show themselves again. See, the avoidant always wants to make sure that they have that door open. They want to make sure the door is open, but they are comfortable with keeping you at a distance because they know that they don't deserve you. They know they don't deserve you. They know that they are not worthy of your presence. And when you are an empath, they will never get over you. They will always watch you in the distance. But they cannot bring themselves to actually having that conversation. They might, send a little comment under your post every blue moon or just out the blue. Send a text, hey, how you been doing? Just to see if that door is still cracked. But once you start to pour yourself out to them again, that's when they will run. Because they cannot receive the depth that you have within. They are emotionally traumatized. They are emotionally unavailable. They cannot receive what you have to give, even though they want to. They don't know how, because they made this promise, this mental promise to themselves that they will never let anyone reject them. They will never let anyone dismiss them. They will never let anyone embarrass or just get them caught up in their feelings and be hurt. They don't want to be hurt again. They don't want to be vulnerable. Vulnerability makes them feel uncomfortable. It makes their nervous system get very jumpy. Comfortability is uncomfortable to them. They don't know nothing but chaos. So when someone shows up for them, it means well. They don't know how to sustain that type of environment. All they know how to do is sabotage it and run away. They are runners. They don't know how to face their fears. They are running from something that is an illusion, that is not even real. It's all in their mind. But you should never feel insecure about an avoidant leaving you or running from you. Even though it hurts, it just shows you how powerful you are, and that these people are full of so much trauma, and they know that they shouldn't be dating, but they still do it because it's not about depth. It's just about, being intimate.